Hello, welcome. So this is Lotus, and today what I want to talk about is what's your story? What is the story of your life? What is the story your own that is your own personal myth? That's your own personal fable. You know, storytelling goes back ages as a way of communication, as a way of helping to understand more subtle nuances, to understand deeper wisdom, and to bring forth, particularly when it's the lived experiences, to bring forth that deeper soul connected purpose of why we are here. So, storytelling is also a feminine practice, right? It's a feminine path, it's a feminine expression. The feminine carries that communication, that that capacity, that desire, not just capacity really, but that desire to go deeper automatically, right? That's just innate within us. And the feminine aspect of all of us carries our intuition and carries the embodiment experience of of taking in information, assimilating information, and digesting it in a way that connects it to our soul presence. So the masculine traditions, if we look at, sort of onto more of the extreme side of it, has been very much about no more stories, right? When I was with Gurudev back at the beginning part of my journey, and it was appropriate. Like that, no more stories is appropriate for some things. But if we use that to be an umbrella for everything, we're cutting out the feminine expression. So we're cutting out the other half of our being. So no more stories could pertain to no more recycling, right? The old beliefs that you carry. No more of that negative self-talk, the messages that were passed down through family lines, through parents, through other authority figures that keep us down, that keep us small, that keep us believing falsely in who we actually are. And we then take those on ourselves, right? And then the conditioning of society sort of echoes that as well. So there is a truth to that. No more stories, right? Don't keep regurgitating what isn't working. And most of those will center around our wounding, our fears, those insecurities, our abandonment, our lack of faith and trust. And those are part of our learning process. And sometimes those stories are needed and necessary to a point until we can actually hear them and then begin to heal them and remember ourselves back to our wholeness. So I'm not one who sort of looks at things black and white, that something is inherently good or bad necessarily. Most things, I believe, serve a purpose until they no longer do. So what I'm talking about, though, is what is your story? What is your hero's journey? Which does, in fact, include our shadow and the trials and tribulations of our lives that we have triumphed over. that we have had to do deep dives of excavations to understand more clearly and to release the shames and the guilts that never really belonged to us to begin with. When we start looking at our story and we start weaving the themes of our life together to make a beautiful tapestry, right, which is our life, we are everything that we've experienced, everything that we've been through. We are that conglomeration, right? We are a composite of all of that. And so when we try to cut ourselves off from it, we lose parts of ourselves rather than bringing it into this integrated whole. So what I like to do is really invite people to begin to journal and write out. Write with your hand, not typing on the computer. Write out manually the themes and those junctures in your life that were impactful, that brought you to the places of perhaps your knees, right? And then the places where you were lifted up. When we're brought to our knees, when we're dancing with our shadow aspect, when we're on that human journey of becoming and remembering who we truly are here to be, we can call that healing as well. When we're on that part of the journey, we don't want to brush that under the carpet because that's actually our gold. Once we transmute those lessons, those aspects of us, those patterns, once we really begin to understand them deeply, they are transmuted and alchemized into deep, powerful wisdom, pearls of truth, pearls of our strength, of our resilience, of our deeper knowing, not just in this lifetime, but then we get glimpses of what we came in with, that we brought forth to continue to explore and understand more deeply. So when I did my book, Awakening from the Dream, that was a revelation for me. And honestly, that was one of those turning points where I hadn't really integrated, I hadn't really grokked so much of what I had been through and how things impacted my life and my journey and how they foreshadowed where I would be traveling. And when I kept going back and editing, it's like I kept getting to know myself better. I kept getting the opportunity to see myself more clearly, oftentimes with new eyes, again and again. Because every time I saw myself clearer, my perspective changed. I evolved a little bit more. I expanded my consciousness a little bit more. And then I would have to go back and edit again. And I'll tell you, I resisted the editing for sure because it felt very tedious to me. I much prefer the organic flow of life and of my expression and of my speech and of my writing. So having to move into that masculine framework realm of detail was super challenging for me. But the reward in many ways was the deeper expression of know thyself, coming home to myself more fully and coming more into an empowered state because of that. deeper self-confidence, deeper right-sizedness, humility, purifying of the ego, the recognition and the honor of the journey that I had undertaken. And the thing is, everybody has this in them. And when we get to come really up close and personal, right? This is that relational intimacy. When we get that opportunity to really be with ourselves in this deeper, more vulnerable, more intimate way, we come home to a fullness, to a wholeness. And I can honestly say that even though my book only encompasses, a snippet of my life, a chapter in the middle of where I am now and what had come before that, writing my story, I don't know if healed is the right, I would say purified any shame and guilt that I carried. It allowed me to come into peace with any stories of secrets that I carried. Anything that I had kept hidden in my own treasure chest, right? Or, or maybe Pandora's box was revealed. In Alcoholics Anonymous, there's a saying that says, you're only as sick as your secrets. And I started seeing that on a whole new level. So I can honestly say there is nothing in my life that has ever taken place that I cannot speak about out loud to another person without shame or guilt or regret. And there's great freedom in that. Now that may, not mean that I'm not going to, disclose all of my secrets here on YouTube, so to speak, if it's not appropriate, if it's not serving a purpose. But when we have at least one person that we can tell everything to, and this is that, that fourth step in Alcoholics Anonymous as well, right? We disclose everything that we have done, every bad choice. And, I say that in quotes because I don't really believe in it in good or bad. But we disclose, we look at, we examine, and we own, we take accountability, and we become free. So I highly recommend knowing your story, writing your story, appreciating your story, sharing your story, because our stories, our lived experiences, again, the embodiment of who we really are, not only brings us freedom, but it brings a mutual recognition to others. I can't tell you how many people have, come to me and read my book and said how much that helped them. They'd been going through the same things. They had felt the same things. They had had the same fears. They'd had the same confusion. And that gives us that knowing that we are never truly alone. While we are deeply unique and individual, we have so many more similarities than differences. And when I'm working with clients and when there's something that's really, something that's deep in there that they are fearful to bring out into the light, I can say 100% there is nothing that I judge. because I've seen a lot, not only in myself, but through the work that I do, through the life that I've lived, and I can hold things from an eagle view of discernment, which doesn't mean it's accepting it, it's saying anything is okay. What it's saying is there can be a neutrality, and part of that comes from healing my own shadow, coming face to face, up close and personal with everything that I've done and said, and messy situations that I've been a part of or created, and shameful points in time that were better left, I felt unremembered. But that disempowers us. And we all carry some level of darkness within. And when we reveal that in the appropriate places, in the safe sanctuaries, with another heart to heart, we learn and we grow together. Our stories inspire others. They bring confidence to others. They allow others to step into their bigness. When we own who we are, when we come into a place of right-sizedness, I use my experience a lot in my work because it's my direct experience. I know it intimately. And I know that while it may not be everybody's, it's going to touch the right people. And even though it's not their specific experience, it's going to be a place of refuge, of recognition, of commonality. And I'd rather talk about direct experience rather than theoretical examples and generalizations of things. And again, that's much more that feminine path and tradition. So, what is your story? How is your soul unfolding you, right? How is your soul unfolding you? What is the karmic spiraling path that you walk, that you are here to walk in the dark and the light, to bring wisdom, purification, to rectify division and come into wholeness? And where have you started and where are you now? What is your hero's journey? Celebrate that. It's an undertaking. The hero's journey is an undertaking. It is not for the weak of heart. And then we recognize that we're always this work in progress. And more wisdom grows, which means more groundedness grows, more maturation grows, true maturity. Our spiritual and emotional and embodiment, somatic IQ grows and expands. We become more compassionate, more forgiving, more open to receive and to give. So the invitation will be, as you begin pondering some of this, in September, I'm going to be offering a workshop on our storytelling and what is the life we've created, that we've been crafting. And it will give us an indication of where we're going and how to craft and create our life from more wisdom that we have learned and embodied as we continue to move forward, regardless of what stage or phase you're in your own evolution, healing process, remembering yourself home process, whatever stages of division, because this is an ongoing unification and returning to a place of wholeness that we're all embarking on. So stay tuned. You can stay connected on my website at lotuslinley.net. And if you follow my blog, it will pop up on there very soon, and I will also be extending an invitation here. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, and if this resonates with you, please do. And then you will also get an update through face-to-face right here. All right, so with that, I will be very interested to know about your story, about who you've known yourself to be and who you are knowing yourself to be as you evolve and grow and shift and change and come more fully home to you. All right, blessings.